Alrighty guys, we're back with 5 new aggro decks for Phyrexia, all will be one standard. So what are the deck lists we'll be going over today? We're going to be checking out mono white artifacts, rocking new cards like Swooping Lookout and Phyrexian Vindicator, which looks absolutely disgusting. Got some toxic Selesnya to check out with new 1-drops like Crawling Chorus and Venerated Rotpriest looking pretty sweet, huh? Mono Black Aggro has a new piece of removal with Sheoldred's Edict, and then Phyrexian Obliterator looks, whoo, it looks nasty too, guys. Then we're going to round out the evening with some cat equipment, a little bit of a janky build with Bladehold, War Whip, and Kemba Ka Enduring, and some more jank here. Golgari Toad Rider has some new enchantments to play with Necrogen Communion and Phyrexian Arena. If any of these deck lists look fun to you, there is chapters at the bottom of the video as well as timestamps in the description, so go ahead and feel free to jump around the video. Either way, guys, let's go ahead and get right into the first deck list. Here we are taking a look at the first deck list of the evening, mono white artifacts. What do we got packed in here? We got a couple laydown arms, solid piece of spot removal. Got 4 swooping lookouts, a 1-mana 1/2 flying vigilance artifact creature. This card's sweet. I really like it. I think it's going to put in a lot of work in this deck. Got 4 Yotian Frontliners. Even outside of soldiers, I think this card is going to be sweet here, and it fits the artifact theme, obviously. Got all 4 Michiko's Reign of Truth, which is the main reason to try out artifacts. A 2-mana saga, and for the first 2 chapters, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each artifact and or enchantment you control. This card is going to be huge in a deck like this. New piece of removal, Ossification, a 2-mana aura. You enchant basic land you control. When Ossification enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls until Ossification leaves the battlefield. So since it's an enchantment, it works with the Reign of Truth, which is pretty cool. And it just looks like really good removal in general, doesn't it? Like, for real? Unless I'm missing something here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Okay, Skrelv's Hive, rocking all 4 of these as well. It's a 2-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. And then it has Corrupted as long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Creatures you control with Toxic have lifelink. This is a pretty neat one, guys. Again, it's an enchantment, but it also makes artifacts. Like the Reign of Truth in the mid to late game is so good. Can you imagine just buffing like a lookout in the middle of the game and like you're swinging in with like a 6-power lookout or something ridiculous? I don't think that'll be unheard of, especially when we're producing extra artifacts with the Hive and everything too. So yeah, nice. Onwards to the 3-drops, we got Annex Sentry here, a 3-mana 1/4 artifact creature with Toxic 1, and Toxic is players dealt damage by this creature also get a poison counter, so that's cool. When Annex Sentry enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until Annex Sentry leaves the battlefield. Okay, yeah, I'm curious to see how good this card is actually going to be. It fits the artifact theme, so that's nice. Compared to like Brutal Cathar, I don't really know where this card lies, but yeah, all 4 of them this time. I'm very curious by it. 2 in the Trenches, and this could be your 3-drop of choice probably, but you might still want to choose like an enchantment either way. I think it's going to be nice to be able to buff a nice wide board state, especially if you're going wide with multiple Skrelv's Hives as well. Hopefully you're not losing too much life from the Skrelv's Hive, but yeah, still, you're trying to be as aggressive as possible. I chose In the Trenches, yeah, mainly to buff that wide board state, but something like Wedding Announcement could be good too, so something to consider. Phyrexian Vindicator, it does not fit the artifact theme, but that doesn't matter because this is mono white and Vindicator looks nasty. 4 mana, all 4 of them are white pips. It's a 5/5 flying. If damage would be dealt to Phyrexian Vindicator, prevent that damage. When damage is prevented this way, Phyrexian Vindicator deals that much damage to any target. Oh, buddy. What a 4-drop, guys. What a 4-drop. Yep, definitely worth all 4 of them. Easy decision, right? Then we have 4 Steel Seraphs, again, fitting that artifact theme is pretty powerful. Think of it as a 3-drop because it has that prototype, of course. Have 24 land in here, most of them being plains, except one of them is a Seat of the Empire. And you want all plains because you always want to hit that Vindicator, and also you want the plains because you need basic land for the Ossification as well. So, yeah, pretty neat one. Honestly, a really simple deck, huh? And it looks like it can really pack in that extra damage too, so I'm excited to try this one for sure. Hopefully I went over it well enough. Yeah, this one is a really simple one, huh? Let's go ahead, check out deck list number 2. The second deck list of the evening, Toxic Selesnya. What do we got in here? Crawling Chorus. This is a 1-mana 1/1 with Toxic 1, and when it dies, you create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Pretty cool one. We have 3 Skrelvs in here. Defector Mite. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it sounds right, so. It's a 1-mana 1/1 with Toxic 1. Skrelv, Defector Mite can't block, and then for a Phyrexian white mana, you can tap this, choose a color. Another target creature you control gains Toxic 1 and Hexproof from that color until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. That's a pretty cool one, huh? So yeah, we got 3 of them. You don't want 4 because it is a legendary artifact creature, so we have 4 Venerated Rotpriests. This is a 1-mana 1/2 with Toxic 1. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, target opponent gets a poison counter. That's pretty cool, huh? Now, we don't have too much in here to actually target ourselves, like our own creatures, but just the fact that it's kind of a way for when your opponent does hit you with the spot removal, you know, they get that poison counter, which could go a long way. Got a couple Cankerblooms in here. This is a 2-mana 3/2. For 1 mana, sacrifice Cankerbloom. You get to choose one of these. You can destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or proliferate. And when you proliferate, you choose any number of permanents and or players, then give each another counter of each kind already there. So of course you can proliferate the poison counters on your opponents then, as far as I can tell, right? Yeah, Cankerbloom seems like a cool one. I think it's going to be very versatile in here. We got all 4 Skrelv's Hive, which we just went over in the mono white, but just in case you're skipping around the video, 2-mana enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep. You lose 1 life and create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Then Corrupted as long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, which will be really easy in here. Creatures you control with Toxic have lifelink, which in here could go a very long way. Have 3 Soul Partitions. I'm opting for the Soul Partition over other removal because I do think this deck will be pretty fast overall, and so like full-on removal like a Fateful Absence just doesn't seem worth it to me. I think Soul Partition would go a little bit further. All 4 Annex Sentries here. Again, a 3-mana 1/2 Toxic 1. And when it enters the battlefield, you get to exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until Annex Sentry leaves the battlefield. Pretty neat toxic creature, guys. I can't wait to test it out. Okay, Bloated Contaminator. This card looks absolutely disgusting. A 3-mana 4/4 trample Toxic 1, and when Bloated Contaminator deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. Okay, well, holy cow. That's a 3-mana card. This card is absolutely disgusting. It's going to put in so much work in a deck like this. Holy cow. Next up, we have 4 Viral Spawnings. This is a 3-mana sorcery. Create a 3/3 green Phyrexian Beast creature token with Toxic 1. And then it has Corrupted here. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters and Viral Spawning is in your graveyard, it has Flashback for 2 and a green. This card looks pretty sweet, actually. I like it. On the top end of the build, we have a couple expanded spheres where you get to look at the top 6 cards of your library, put up to 2 land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. But we're not really looking at this as a ramp spell, although it could be decent to grab a couple lands with it. We're really looking at this bottom ability. If you put fewer than 2 lands onto the battlefield this way, proliferate a number of times equal to the difference. So yeah, it says put up to 2 land cards, so you don't have to do that. You could just proliferate twice and maybe just win the game that turn. I think this card looks sweet. Mondrak Glory Dominus. I really hope I'm pronouncing at least some of these cards right. This is a 4-mana 4/4 legendary creature. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. And then for 1 and 2 white Phyrexian mana, you can sacrifice 2 other artifacts and or creatures, put an indestructible counter on Mondrak. That's pretty cool, guys. This card seems pretty sweet. We have a lot of ways to get tokens in here, from the viral spawning, the crawling chorus, the Skrelv's Hive as well. And yeah, I had some land too, which we'll go over in a second. Even though it's not a token deck, I think this will be worth having on the top end, but we'll see. So we have a Who Endures here in the mana base, as well as all 4 Brushland, a Seat of the Empire, of course. Here's a new one, Mirrex. This is a land sphere. You can tap for a colorless, or you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, activate only if Mirrex entered the battlefield this turn. That's an interesting effect. And then for 3 mana, you can tap it to create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Mite artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. So that's cool. Another way to get tokens if you have the Mondrak on the board, but also just more ways to go wide, get more toxic creatures. It's a neat one. We have a couple farmlands in here, and then rocking all 4 of the Razorverge Thickets as well. This is my first time playing with this type of mana. I'm not really sure how worth it is. It looks pretty good though, so yeah, trying all 4. And honestly, do we even want the Overgrown Farmlands at this point? Yeah, probably. I think the 2 of would be fine in here. That is 24 land total, by the way. Of course, the rest is just packed with some basics. That's the deck list, guys. Again, hopefully I'm going over these well enough. I feel like I should be describing it more, but they're pretty simple, right? We're just slamming the opponent's face with toxic creatures, and I think you can just get a ton of poison counters early on with a deck like this, making it just super aggressive. So yeah, let's go on to deck list number 3. Onwards to Mono Black Aggro. What do we got in the list? Black Sun's Twilight, an X and black instant speed. Up to 1 target creature gets -X/-X until end of turn. If X is 5 or more, return a creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This card looks pretty sweet, huh? I at least want to try one of them in here, even if it's not necessarily aggressive. Couple cut downs, yep, early removal's important. Evolved Sleeper, pretty powerful 1-drop. Couple Go for the Throats. There's a lot of artifacts nowadays. This might want to be an Infernal Grasp or your removal of choice, huh? Sheoldred's Edict, a 2-mana instant speed. You get to choose one of these. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature, or each opponent sacrifices a creature token, or each opponent sacrifices a planeswalker. Honestly, looks pretty solid. I'm interested to see how much it'll do. Maybe we want more of these. Maybe you only want one of them and then you want to have more just normal spot removal. Not really sure. Got all 4 Tenacious Underdogs. Super aggressive creature. Super good. Got 4 Graveyard Trespassers in here as well. No one's surprised. Okay, Phyrexian Obliterator here. This is a 4-mana 5/5 trample. Whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. Oh my goodness. Okay, well then, yep, worth having 4 of them in here, and we're actually rocking 3 Sheoldred as well, so a ton of 4-drops packed in. This is like one of the only aggro decks that you'll see me make that has 26 total land. Because you want to see a land every single turn, because the true aggressiveness of the deck happens after turn 3, right? So yeah, Obliterator looks ridiculous. Of course, Sheoldred is very strong. Rocking all 4 Invoke Despairs as well, helping us close up games, helping us draw into more Invoke Despairs. And then we have 4 Fleshgorger as well, which of course we think of as a 3-drop because of the prototype. And the 26 mana in here, one of them is a Dross Pits, which I actually don't know if we even want in here, honestly. It enters the battlefield tapped, and it taps for a black source, and then for 1 in a black you can tap it, sack it, and draw a card. I think it'll actually be alright in here, honestly, but just something to think about, I guess. Like, you might just want like another Abandoned Mire instead. 2 Abandoned Mires wouldn't be bad in a deck like this, honestly, so yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about this land a little bit. So here it is, right? 26 total land. That's the deck. Wow, this one was really easy to go over, huh? It's because we see so much mono black already, and I get it, you might want to call it a mid-range build, but it seems a little silly to me, knowing how aggressive this actually is, even though it's not like your normal aggressive deck that's more of like a low ball style aggressive. This is definitely like, it wants to get to the middle of the game, kinda sorta, but early on in that mid game, it is just hyper aggressive. So yeah, I'm counting it as aggro, of course. That's the deck list, guys. Let's go ahead and hop into the fourth list. Time to check out a janky build here. Cat equipment. What do we got in the deck? We have 4 rabbit batteries because it's powerful equipment. We have 3 Tyvar's Stand. This is an X and a green instant speed. Target creature you control gets +X/+X and gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Yeah, this looks really good, doesn't it? I like it. We have 3 Jor Kadeen First Gold Warden. This is a 2 mana rockin' Boros colors up there. It's a 2/2 trample legendary creature. When Jor Kadeen First Strike Gold Warden attacks, okay, his name is now just Jor, my goodness. It gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control. Then, if Jor's power is 4 or greater, draw a card. This card looks pretty powerful actually, guys. Nice. So we have all 4 Kemba Ka Enduring. I apologize for the quality. There's literally someone's thumb on the card. So Kemba is a 2 mana 2/2 legendary creature cat. Nice. Whenever Kemba or another cat enters the battlefield under your control, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to that creature. Equipped creatures you control get +1/+1. And then for 3 and double white, create a 2/2 white cat creature token. This card looks sweet, guys. This looks like a perfect build around card, which that's kind of what this deck is, right? We got a bunch of cats in here. Speaking of cats, we got an equipment cat, Lion Sash, just a couple of them. It's pretty decent. We have all 4 Lizard Blades because Double Strike is pretty powerful, especially when paired with cards that have trample like Jor or Neshoba Brawler. Yet we have a very small domain theme in here just for the Brawler, which is a powerful cat warrior that we don't get to see too often. So it's a 2 mana, and its power is equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. It's got 3 toughness, and of course that trample that I mentioned. It's pretty powerful, honestly, guys. We have a Transmogrant Crown in here, a powerful equipment, and since we have that domain theme, we do have ways to have black mana too, so that's cool. We have 4 Bladehold War Whips. This is a 3 mana rocking some Boros colors up there. It has 4 Mirrodin, so it comes in with that 2/2 Rebel. Equipped abilities you activate of other equipment cost 1 less to activate. Equipped creature has double strike, and then the equip cost is ridiculous. It's 3, a red, and a white, but hopefully we're just getting this on and equipped to our kitty cats for free when we have Kemba on the board, right? So we have more cats here, Jewel Thief, and again, that trample is going to really come in handy with all this double strike nonsense, and the vigilance is really good when opponents are constantly dropping Wandering Emperors on us. The treasure token is awesome too, helping us actually have extra mana so we can equip things effectively. It's a good one. Rook Hexgold Nabber, a 3 mana 2/2 trample haste. Whenever an equipped creature you control other than Rook attacks or dies, you may attach all equipment attached to that creature to Rook. Again, all this extra double strike and stuff just going on to the Rook seems really powerful, huh? I think it's going to be a good one, even though it's not a cat, so it doesn't necessarily fit the theme, but that's fine. It fits the equipment theme. On the very top end, rocking Jetmare. Not a great way to go wide in this deck, but it's a cat, and it's a powerful cat at that, and, you know, it has the Naya colors too, so yeah. The mana base, guys, I thought about the mana base for a little bit here. We have the all 4 Battlefield Forge, we have all 4 Jetmare's Garden, a couple Rockfall Vales, a couple Spara's Headquarters, all 4 Proving Grounds, and then our basic lands over here too. So hopefully the mana base helps with the domain on the Brawler, but also just lets us actually cast everything effectively. So yeah, like I said, it's probably pretty janky, and it probably needs some work too, but I think it's going to be a really fun one, and it's going to be one that I try early on in the format once the new set releases. Yeah, let's go ahead and check out the last deck of the evening. Okay, here's the last list of the evening. Another janky one, potentially. Golgari Toad Rider. What do we got in here? We have 4 Audacities. We don't get to see this aura too often, unfortunately. So this is a 1-mana aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has trample. When Audacity is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, draw a card. Pretty good one. Clawing Torment, another one we don't get to see too often. This is a 1-mana aura, enchant artifact or creature. As long as Enchanted Permanent is a creature, it gets -1/-1 and can't block. That's pretty huge. Enchanted Permanent has, at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. So yeah, you can just drain your opponent's life total with Clawing Torment. Sounds good to me. We have all 4 Generous Visitors in here, working with the enchantment theme. It's going to be very powerful. All 4 Okibo Reckoner raids. We always bring it up here, but it is very much an underplayed 1-drop. We have a single Tamiyo Safekeeping. Since you can target a permanent with this, you can target one of your sagas that didn't flip, or, you know, anything like that, honestly. And then the extra life gain is going to be pretty good in here, too. 3, Tyvar's Stand. I just went over this card, but just in case you're skipping around the video, this is an X and a green instant speed. Target creature you control gets +X/+X and gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Pretty solid one, guys, honestly. It really is. I'm curious to see how much play this actually sees. We have 4 Kami of Transience, a very powerful card that, of course, works with all the enchantments packed in here. Couple Life of Toshiros. You guys know how much I love this card. We got 4 Necrogen Communions. Now, this is a 2-mana aura. Enchant creature you control. Enchanted creature has Toxic too. Okay. When enchanted creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under your control. Honestly, man, I think this card looks sweet. I think it's going to put in a ton of work in a deck like this. Okay, a couple Terra Sunders, because it's definitely worth having in if you can cast it. So if you can cast it for the kicker cost especially. We have 3 Phyrexian Arenas, which apparently is a reprint because this is a different artwork. But yeah, anyways, a 3-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. So keeping our hand stocked in a deck like this could be huge. And if you ever get a couple of these down and you're drawing 2 extra cards per turn and you're just slamming all these extra enchantments onto the board, hopefully you're draining the opponent's life with Toad Rider here, Tatsunari Toad Rider. This is a 3-mana, 3/3 legendary creature. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, if you don't control a creature named Kaimi, create Kaimi, a legendary 3/3 black and green frog creature token with, whenever you cast an enchantment spell, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So there's just so many ways to just drain the opponent's life total, and that's one of the reasons why I count this as an aggressive deck. And then for 1 and a green in this deck, it's a green or a blue, but, you know, Golgari, so 1 and a green, a Tatsunari Toad Rider, and target frog you control can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with flying or reach. So a very cool one. We got all 4 of them in here because that's kind of the main theme of the deck. We want to get Toad Rider down. We want to start slamming all of these enchantments onto the board. It's pretty cool that you can drop like a Communion on the Toad Rider. Now, if your opponent drops that spot removal on Toad Rider, at least you'll get it back tapped, which is really, really good in a deck like this. So you have 21 total land in here. One of them is a Who Endures. One of them is an Abandoned Mire, naturally. Bunch of basics, rocking all 4 Death Cap Glades and all 4 Llanowar Wastes as well. So yeah, that's that, guys. This one's going to be a ton of fun. I can't wait to try all of these decks. I can't wait for the new set to release. It kind of looks ridiculously powerful, doesn't it? Am I wrong? Or are these like new cards really good? Either way, if you enjoyed this style of video, please let me know down in the comments or drop the video a like. That obviously lets me know as well. And if you made it this far into the video, then y'all are champions for real. I super duper appreciate you, and I will see you in the next video.